Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Board, and it's mailbag time. I went live a little bit earlier on Tuesday to answer the nation's questions. If you're wondering, wait, how can I get my questions on the show? Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. That way, every time I go live or drop a video, your questions and comments can be featured on the show, which you're going to see a bunch of super chats coming up here in just a little bit. People who I know got their notifications turned on. Shout out to Jake Smith, Take Flight Task, Matt R., my guy Hellcat Q, Oscar Quintero. Thank you so much for being a part of that Noti gang. And these were the first 5 commenters on the video that was put out on December 12th. That's what that means up there. Let's go to the first one, which is Jack's safety mindset. Name a player we could get realistically. So you're talking about like a free agent that the Raiders could sign realistically. I'll still say that I believe the silver and black need help on the interior, and if it was me, I would want to get a run stopper because the Patriots are going to try to run the football, the Steelers are going to try to run the football, the Niners are definitely going to run the football, and getting an extra defensive lineman against the Chiefs in that final game is never a bad idea. So defensive tackles that come to my mind, I'll say Sheldon Richardson would be my top guy that I would want. In terms of the most realistic, I'll say Malcolm Brown because he played his first 4 or 5, I think 2015 to 2018 with New England, with Ziegler, with McDaniels, so there is some sort of a connection there. So most realistic, let's go with that. Let's go with Malcolm Brown, defensive tackle. How about this, though? Name a player that you believe the Raiders should sign to save the season. Wow, that's a big one. To save the season. I don't know if that's Malcolm Brown to save the season. If you're trying to save the season, man, you might have to go out and get a huge name. Aaron Rodgers, Jeremy whispered to me. No, that's definitely not it. I want to know, name a player the Raiders should sign that you think could help save the season. Let's go to the super chat coming in from Anthony Morales. Why the Raiders stick to the run so much when our pass game is really good? Why do we go away from Adams, Foster, and Hollins? I think because McDaniels isn't going to admit it. They went conservative. And Colin Cowherd said it, and I said it yesterday on my show earlier in the week, that I don't even know if McDaniels fully trusts Derek Carr, which is a little bit frustrating at times because when he lets Carr cook, Carr's actually thrown the ball okay. Don't get me wrong, Carr's been bad at times. But realistically, when you think of all the shit that's gone on this year, past years, I have more faith in Derek Carr than I do Josh McDaniels, which that might not be saying much, but I do think that I trust Derek Carr more than I trust Josh McDaniels. Let's go to Roy Leos. Thank you, my guy, for sending that in. Honestly, it kind of looks like if Jeremy were to wear a hat and sunglasses. Is this just Jeremy Chugs or is it Roy Leos? You guys let me know. Stephen Rockwell. If Carr is gone, I like Max Duggan, TCU quarterback. Unfortunately, I don't like that idea. I think Duggan is going to classify as one of these players that he's a really good college quarterback. He's a gamer. He's a tough dude. Unfortunately, though, I don't really want that whole thing to happen. And Jeremy just whispered in my ear, he's Tim Tebow. I'm not even going to say that because Tim Tebow, I'll say, might be the greatest college quarterback of all time. You know who the person was, though, that drafted Tim Tebow? Josh McDaniels. In terms of my top quarterback prospects, though, I'm not going to sit here and say Bryce Young's the answer. I'm not going to say C.J. Stroud. I've said this before. I've said it 100 times. If it was up to me, the quarterback that I would bring in for the Raiders is a free agent, and his name's Tom Brady. Why? He knows the McDaniels system, and that's the route that I believe McDaniels and Ziegler end up going this offseason. Let's go to Dom Garcia. Have a great trip, Mitch. Can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait either. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited for my vacation. I'm excited for a few days off. I'm excited to see my dad. I'm excited to spend some time in New York. But I'm still excited for game days, man. Clown face, you wake up those mornings, you're super hyped for game day, and most of the time this year we've left with just a lot of anger. But every time the Raiders play, I just look forward to it. And remember, if you want to bet on any game, you go to chatsports.com/Raiders, promo code Raiders125. Let's go to YO Raider. Immaculate reception is BS. I know that's not a popular one amongst Raider fans. I think that's one of those catches where if we had the technology that we did today, would it still be a catch? I don't know. I would love to see that tape. El Raider, if Carr gets traded and Ziegler targets one of their guys in free agency, who do you think will sign, Jimmy G or Brady? But I also feel that Brady has slowly been declining. What are your thoughts, Mitch? Well, El Raider 93, Carr would have to approve in terms of getting traded, so because he's got that no trade clause, but I've been told by a good source that if Carr was told that, hey, you're going to get cut, he would waive the no trade clause. That way he would end up getting dealt. The route that I think they end up going would be Tom Brady, and if I was the Raiders, this would be exactly what I would do. I would find a quarterback either in the draft or a free agent that people just don't believe in anymore, that you do feel like has some talent, right? So think about this. You bring in Tom Brady for 2 years. You also find out another guy who can learn behind Tom Brady. If Tom Brady continues to play well, you stick with Tom Brady. If not, I actually think that you could flip that quarterback for something. You could flip that QB that you brought in to learn underneath Brady, and then who knows? You could trade him in the future. They did it with Jimmy G. They did it with Jacoby Brissett. If I was the Raiders, I'm not saying me personally, Tom Brady's the number one guy that they'd bring in, but from what it seems like matters to the Raiders is whoever can play the best in McDaniels' system, that's what matters the most to them. And I believe that's Tom Brady. Next thing.
Raiders report, Mount Rushmore alert.
So if anybody's ever heard me reference Mount Rushmore, these are the 4 people who have helped grow the Raiders report more than anyone, whether it be by watching, having the noties on, subscribing, tell other people to subscribe, super chat donations. That's my Mount Rushmore. And we got Wild 114 coming on. Anytime you see this logo, it means they're a part of the Mount Rushmore gang. The Raiders aren't tanking, however, they are sandbagging. This is literally the text he sent me earlier today or yesterday. Tanking, you try to lose. Sandbag, you keep the games competitive enough to win while hoping to lose. Why sandbagging is harder to prove. I respectfully am going to disagree with this whole tanking, sandbagging theory. Players don't try to do that, especially players. Coaches maybe technically would try to do it, but a player would never, because if I'm a player and I'm on a brand new regime and I know there's a good shot that I'm not going to be around next year, I'm going to try to go out and play and put myself and my family in a better position to make more money. I hear what you're saying. I can't believe a team physically trying to lose a game. It goes against everything I believe in as a human, everything I believe in as a competitor. Can't believe it. Now, if you want to bet on the Raiders, or if you think they're sandbagging, maybe it's another reason to bet on them, use promo code Raiders125 at the number one sports book in the world, and we have the number one deal with this sportsbook, BetUS. If you go to chatsports.com/Raiders and you're a first-time bettor, you're going to get a 125% deposit bonus. So imagine a world where you go to chatsports.com/Raiders. You use promo code Raiders125. You put down $100. You're going to get $125 for free to bet with. And if you're looking at this game, the time that I'm making this video right now, Raiders are 1-point underdogs, and the over-under is at 44.5. The Raiders this season, when they've been underdogs, they've responded. If the Raiders are favored in a game, no chance I'm betting on it. No chance I'll bet on it. If they're underdogs, I might have the cojones to do it, and that's why that 125% deposit bonus, it helps you out. So chatsports.com/Raiders, promo code Raiders125. Let's go to the greatness of the Raiders. FYI, for your trip, Cat's Deli, 205 East Huston Street. I want to see more man coverage this weekend. All right, good looks, greatness. I'm going to be in New York this entire week. I want to see more man coverage this weekend as well. I actually think that the Raiders match up pretty well with the New England Patriots wide receivers, and I don't even think that Devontae Parker is going to be out there. We'll see how Nelson Aguilar ends up doing. What I will be interested, though, is the health of Rock Ya-Sin. If Rock Ya-Sin is healthy, I want to see Rock in more man situations. Because to me, when you can have man and have Rock up close and personal and be physical, that's a lot better. Sam Webb played well early on. The NFL's starting to figure him out here a little bit because over the past few games, Sam Webb has really struggled. Like, since the Indianapolis game, Sam Webb has struggled. He's played like a UDFA type of player. Let's go to Jay Rader. Hear me out. Fire McDingdong and hire DC as the head coach. I don't even want that. I don't think I want Patrick Graham because to me, Patrick Graham also has really shut down this. Oh, you're saying Derek Carr is the head coach? No. 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 Sorry, Jay Rader. Artemis, what up, Bill? Did you hear Sean Payton wants to coach the Chargers? If I was a betting man, which I am, I would say the team that Sean Payton is the most likely to coach in the future would be the Los Angeles Chargers. It stinks because we know some things here at Chat Sports, and from what I've been told, the most likely team would be the Los Angeles Chargers. Sean Payton with Justin Herbert scares the hell out of me. And, of course, Jeremy's going to go with this one. Will Sean Payton ever coach in the NFL again? I think the answer to this is yes. I believe Sean Payton coaches in the NFL again. Remember, though, if that does happen, whatever team he ends up trying to go to, that team has to trade for him from New Orleans because they still own the rights to his contract. So if that does end up happening, we'll see. We'll see. Let's go to Captain _ Yobagoya. That's what it is. You know Yobagoya? Have you ever watched the league? Yobagoya. I think that's what it is. Linebacker, defensive back are the biggest concern. D-line needs help. See, I'll say this. I look at linebacker in the NFL nowadays very similar to the way I look at the running back position. It's easily replaceable. The most important thing in the NFL on defense is the trenches. If you can win up front, your defense is going to play a lot better. Edge rushers, defensive line. That's the Raiders' biggest need right now. When you're as bad as they are in the D-line and you got a player like Crosby, that shows you how bad they are. So I'm thinking defensive line, edge rushers, defensive tackle. Then I'll go look at the secondary, get an extra cornerback. Yeah, you need an extra linebacker because I don't see Denzel Perryman coming back next season. You got a lot of needs, though. Lots and lots of needs on the defensive side of the football. Let's go to Daniel Caps Keenan. Hey, Mitch and Chugs. What's your take on Todd McShay's mock draft having the Raiders select Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech? So he is actually one of my top 10 prospects. Good edge rusher. Like, he's a good all-around athlete, and if you're the Raiders, you're hoping that you can find another long, lanky, he's bendy. And a lot of people, the reason why I like Max Crosby so much when he first came out of the draft was, I remember one of the quotes, and Mayock didn't do a lot of good for us, but Mayock said that he bent like Gumby. And I remember talking to a scout that said Crosby bends insane, and he's long and lanky. I've heard the exact same things about Wilson from Texas Tech. Let's go to one of the GOATs on Mount Rushmore, Wild 114. Didn't say the players were a part of it, but it explains why the throttle back their offense every time they are winning and why Mark Davis doesn't care. They are all about the Las Vegas Super Bowl. I still think Davis cares, but one of the things I talked about on Monday was I believe the reason why Ziegler and Mark Davis said, fantastic, and McDaniels doing a great job is because they think that he is doing a great job. They put all the blame this season on the players, which for me as a person is frustrating. I almost look at it as, imagine a dad blaming their child for doing X, Y, Z. I get it, it's the kid's fault, but if you're the parent, you also have to take responsibility. Let's say McDaniels is calling a play, but if your team's not executing that play well enough, you still have to take responsibility because you are the head coach. Let's go to Timothy Williams. The Raiders really missed Rock Ya-Sin against the Rams. Will he play against the Patriots? My understanding is the Raiders anticipate that he plays. They gave him the extra layoff because the Raiders knew that the Patriots game was more important than the Rams. I believe they also probably thought that they were going to beat the Rams without Rock Ya-Sin. So my understanding at the time that I am filming this video, Rock Ya-Sin is expected to play this upcoming week against the Patriots. So with Rock Ya-Sin, oh wow, Jeremy's really trying to push some buttons here. All right, hindsight 2020. Was the trade for Rock Ya-Sin a good or bad trade? Type G for good, type B for bad. If you don't remember what the trade was, it was Rock Ya-Sin for Yannick Ngakoue straight up. This might surprise some people. I'm going to type G for good. I still think hindsight 2020, it was a good trade. And the reason why I'm going to say it's a good trade is because you got yourself another solid outside corner. And Rock Ya-Sin has been really solid. It's not Rock Ya-Sin's fault that Chandler Jones has been a disaster as much as he has been. Because if Chandler Jones would be putting up the numbers that we thought Chandler Jones was going to put up, we all thought he was going to put up better numbers than Ngakoue. And if he does that, then that makes Rock Ya-Sin look even better. So hindsight 2020, I still think that the trade was good. And I'm not going to sit here and put that blame on Rock that Chandler Jones has played bad. So, yeah, guess what? I'm still going to say it's good. Let's go to Brandon Jasper. It's locals. Time for great content, personal interaction, weekly pick'ems, and just a good old time. You got that saved on your computer, Brandon? I hope so. Remember, if you're wondering what he's talking about, we got diehard Raider fans over on Locals here, Raidersport.locals.com. weekly pick'ems like Brandon talks about, really cool live shows, and I've been doing more live shows over on Locals for the simple fact of I just need to vent. I need to talk to you guys sometimes. So that's what I've been doing. If you want to join me and a bunch of the diehard Raider fans, a lot of the guys on Mount Rushmore, Raidersport.locals.com. Let's go to Steve. Steve. Oh, wait, that's not Steve. That's Alan. Alan. Oh, wait. That is Steve. Steve. Does anyone know that? Do you know that? Yeah? I don't know. That's one of my favorite videos. DJ, what? Refs missed some calls, but you can't bank on it. Like Nacho Libre said, I want to win. Summon your Raider powers. Real one for life, one nation. The refs were bad in that Rams game. But to me, did they deserve some blame? Yes, but I've watched a lot of other Raiders games where the refs screwed you over way more than those officials did. Like that Chiefs game, I'll still say it's one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen. You scored 16 points. You gave your offense 4 or 5 opportunities in the second half to put up more points, unable to do it. Like, to me, the offense deserves the blame in that Rams game, not the defense, which might surprise some people. Get_2 nasty. Derek Carr got to go. I'm so pissed. Need a woman to take care of this loss. I think the only way it makes sense to keep Carr is if you make the playoffs. This season's been struggling, no doubt about it. The whole Josh McDaniels circus, I get it, is a struggle. But I think we also have to sit back and think Derek's really never been good in the red zone. And yet again, he's bad again this season in the red zone, right? So that one you can kind of go both ways with. And everyone's like, oh, Mitch, the grass isn't always greener. And my thing that I've been saying with DC this season is the NFL is judged on Super Bowl wins. It's judged on playoff wins. I've said it so many times, I feel like a broken record. If you've never won any of those things, then in my opinion, you have nothing to lose. And if you have nothing to lose, then you have everything to gain. Right now, if the grass is green with Derek Carr, I disagree with that. I would say since the Raiders have had Derek Carr as a quarterback, the grass has been brown because you haven't won anything. So for that reason, you're not losing green grass. You're just looking for green grass. That makes sense. I hope it does because it made sense in my head. If you haven't already subscribed to the Raiders Report, please, please, please make sure you do so. Turn on that notification bell. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep you guys up to date every single day this year. And I'm going to try again a video every single day in the year 2023.